Hello, angels and all, and it really is a good time to get a proper recording studio. Methinks apparently the Gold Coast is the worst place in Australia for internet. I've got none today at my house. The beach is very windy, so you're going to have wind, and so I'm trying it in a sort of a forest, and who knows how that's going to go. So you might have a bit of wind, and you can probably hear the birds, which is lovely. And so for the last 25 sessions, basically, I have been talking about the mind and how we can use our mind and how to understand our mind and how we can think in much more productive, aligned and useful ways for our lives, both on a small scale on the day-to-day things and also on the big decisions that we need to make. So that's all about our thinking. So I thought I'd touch on some doing, because it's kind of I was going to say relevant. It's kind of relevant right now to me anyway. So for the last 2 months, I've been creating some courses about soul alignment and how we can be more aligned to our soul and how we can find our passion and do the things that we really want to do in a wholesome, productive way. So that was been 2 months, and I was about to launch, pretty close to launching, and I sent out a questionnaire to 12 people, and one of them rang. It's my very annoying friend, my mentor, an amazing person, Narelle, who at the last minute rang because I'd sent out this questionnaire, rang to remind me that she had reminded me many times before that I'm a writer, that I've written 26 books so far. I've got about 15 sitting on my computer, partly finished. So effectively I've got around 33 books, I suppose, something like that. And in all genres, well, lots of genres. So I've done thrillers, I've done poetry and short stories and flash fiction and fables and personal development, spiritual development, business, 2 business books. So I've written a whole range of books, which is what you're not supposed to do as a writer. Each of us writers is supposed to be in one genre, but I can't do one thing at a time, particularly with writing. And so I write whatever I feel like writing, or whatever comes to me. And what has recently come to me is a romance, which I've never written before. So that's about 25,000 words, I think, so far. So that's coming along. It's just a nice new experience. And so in the conversation, so Narelle very gently suggested that perhaps I should start with writing courses rather than soul alignment or personal development. And I have run personal development courses face to face, but because I have got this body of work and I do know a lot of people in the writing industry, shall we say, I've written and published 26 of my books. I've published 26 books for other people, 25. So I do have a broad knowledge of that, and I've been doing it for a very long time, 25 more years, more than that, maybe 30 years. And so she reminded me that's probably the best thing I should do. Rather than start the personal development, start with writing courses, and they will embody the soul alignment aspects to them. And when she said that, I had this huge, big, heavy lump went in my body and my mind, and I felt really heavy. And it was just this resistance, because I was already geared up for doing the other courses, the soul alignment courses. And so I was on this track. And then Narelle comes along and suggested a different track. So anyway, she's always, most of the time, is connected to some deeper wisdom that I usually have to listen to. So I listened and resisted a bit. And then over the following 24 hours, I thought, well, I'll just be with this. Maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe I do need to start with the writing courses. And so I sat with it and listened, and let the big heavy lump go, and by yesterday afternoon I knew that I had to start with the writing courses. So there's been a change as of yesterday afternoon, and so I've started doing that in a very gentle way. I'm looking, first of all, trying to come up with a title for these books, for these courses about writing. And that's what happens. Sometimes we take off in a tangent over here, and then somehow we get gently pushed sideways. And the fact is, if we sit around thinking about stuff in our caves or in our mother's basements or whatever, wherever we're living, if we sit here just thinking, taking no action, then nothing's going to happen. The universe can't steer us in any way because we haven't got any momentum. So it's like a ship. You can't steer a stationary ship. So the faster a ship goes, the more steerage you've got, the more control you've actually got. If it's going really slowly, you actually need tugboats to move, to steer it, which is what you see in the harbour. And then when it gets out to sea, it goes faster and you can steer it much more effectively. And somebody else said that you can't edit a blank page. So we do need to, whether it's writing or anything, it seems to me that we need to take action. And we use our thinking, our clear mind to take action. And I thought I was on the right track. And then the universe, God, source, the big banana, whatever, spirit, will pop in and go, yep, it's great that you started, really with you. How about just slide sideways a bit, just a gentle nudge. How about you da-da-da-da-da? And that's so often what will happen. We start out with this wonderful idea, this is going to be the thing that will, enthuse me and help others, and then there'll be a blockage. And I talked about my cousin Diana, who had the same thing happen. She decided to do a series of podcasts about amazing women, and for some reason it didn't work. I don't know what her blocks were. Anyway, and she decided to do what she should probably have been doing in the first place, which is doing the podcast from her own wisdom, because she has a voice, she has got the wisdom, and that's what's going to be shared now. But that idea of her sharing her wisdom would not have come if she had not have started on something. And she started on something that was sort of aligned about doing podcasts and about sharing. It's about healing and health, wisdom. So she was pretty much in line. So there was just a little adjustment. And sometimes these adjustments come heavily to us. Sometimes I really was just at it 2 days ago when Norelle, in her polite, assertive way, suggested, Philip Bradbury, how many times have I told you? And it's like God going, come on. You're nearly there. You've got the courses. You've done all this work, and none of it's wasted, because everything I've done over the last 2 months will be part of the courses. And so sometimes we just have to set off in a certain direction and be open to the possibility that we may not have set off in the right direction. And if we're open to the possibility, the change won't be so traumatic. If we think we're on the right track, and this is what I need to do, I'm going to do this, and this, no one's moving me off my track, and I'm going to be determined, I'm going to follow my path, and I'm going to follow. If we set an ego, it's all about me, and I'm in control, if we set that kind of goal, it won't work. So, well, I'm sure I have yet to find someone who's done that and it's worked. Usually there are interruptions, there are hold-ups, there are, I don't know, people let you down, money doesn't happen, things get in the way. Whereas if we set out somewhere with an openness of going, I'm not doing this on my own, I'm doing this with the bigger wisdom, with the bigger system, if we like. And being open, and that system might be a friend like Narelle, or it might be just things not quite happening, as Diana experienced. And so if we do listen to that, the change, the move slightly sideways, is usually fairly graceful. It's not like I said before about my friend Mark Smiley, who was a rootin', tootin', fighting, drinking, smoking bloke. And yeah, he damaged himself a little bit in first accident in his car. The second time he did a lot more damage. I think he broke a couple of bones. It might have been an arm and a leg. And he kept doing what he was doing. And the third time he was in hospital for months, I think it was. He had broken his back and done some serious damage. And it affected him for the rest of his life. But he realized when we're nudged first time, it's a gentle nudge. And I think he just sprained his ankle or something in the first accident. And he didn't learn that time. So he kept doing the silly thing. And the damage was more and then more. And eventually he had to stop and think, oh my God, I'm doing the wrong thing. So if we are open to listening, it's a lovely day here. It's really peaceful. There's birds around. I'm in a cage, which I think is for, I don't know why. But sorry, I just had to stop for a moment and just be grateful for the spaces that I have available, that we all have here. So it's just this clear blue sky, the eponymous gum trees of Australia. Don't ask me what types of gums, there's dozens of them. The odd person there taking his dog for a bicycle ride. So that's it, yeah. Anyway, so where was I? So let's not do the Mark Smiley thing and keep forcing ourselves against what's absolutely correct for us in alignment. Let us just stop for a moment and do the graceful thing as Diana did, and as I think I did with Narelle. It took me a day to change my mind and be graceful about it, but there you go. But we can't change our mind if nothing's happened in the first place. We can't be moved from a path if we're not on one. Kind of obvious, really. So the basic suggestion is, if you've got an idea, set out and be open to the fact that we're not alone. We're not doing this alone. We are part of an amazing, massive system that probably none of us know how it works, but we know it does, and that's the important thing. We know that it works when we stop and listen and go, oh, okay, thank you for that. And it might be a movie, it might be an article in a magazine, it might be a book we've read, it might be an overheard conversation, it could be a friend just suggesting something. These prompts from the universe can come from all sorts of places. And if we are open to listening, and if we're open to moving sideways, our favourite project, sorry, but it just might not be the right one, it might need fine-tuning. So I suggest, even though here it's a holiday and people are lying about doing nothing, it's what do you call it, Australia Day. So lots of things are, yeah, I don't know. What some things are shut, I suppose. No idea. And but my suggestion is, even though today some people are lying about doing nothing, it's a good idea to get off your butt, get off your backside, and take 2 or 3 steps forward. You will know when you do that if they're the right 3 steps, because things move smoothly. And if things kind of don't quite gel, then it's time to go, okay, I'm not doing this in my own strength, I need some help. Or, yeah, just be listening, and be willing to move sideways. So I wish you an action-packed day, a sideways day perhaps, and a whole lot of peace and joy.